remember you.
I pray we have not caught you at an inopportune moment. We wanted to offer our thanks for your kind words in the forum.
Well, I could hardly let that inquisition go unchallenged. I've always believed that curiosity should be nurtured, not stifled. Thankfully, a majority of my colleagues agreed. A slender majority, aye, but a majority nonetheless.
Had the vote not gone our way, we would be having a very different conversation, if any at all. Though I'd like to think you would have not given up on our cause. I'm told you paid a visit to the annex afterwards.
Yes, that's right. I was hoping to speak with the grandchildren of my dearly departed friends Galuf and Louisoix in a less dour setting. But it seems I just missed you. I still can't believe how much you've grown. If only your grandsires could have seen the way you presented yourselves to the forum. Why, it fair brought a tear to my own eye. You must have the patience of a saint, putting up with this lot and their antics. Never mind Matoya's prize student. Luckily, I know a thing or two about managing unruly younglings. If you ever need advice, don't hesitate to ask.
If I may, there is a rather more pressing matter we wish to discuss. What can you tell us of this duty that the Forum must fulfill?
Nothing, I'm afraid. Like all humble servants of the Forum, I am sworn to secrecy. Or rather, I couldn't tell you if I tried. Our duty is of the gravest importance. Furthermore, if the particulars were made public, it would incite widespread panic. As such, those entrusted with this duty have been bound by an enchantment, which prevents us from speaking of such matters without the express permission of the Forum.
How is that even possible?
It's been some time since I last gave a lecture. Please, take a seat. We shall begin by reviewing the fundamentals of etherology. The ether, which imbues us with life, can be categorized into three forms. Two are of the incorporeal sort, the soul and the memory. Can anyone tell me the third? Yes, very good. This is the form with which the layman is most familiar. Consumed by even the simplest of daily activities, and replenished by the food and drink that sustain us, this form of ether is in constant flux. In contrast, the ether that comprises the soul is rarely subject to dramatic change. The same can be said for memory, as the two are intrinsically linked. Picture the soul as paper, and memories as words written upon it. Now, what would happen if that paper was doused with ink, the same type of ether as comprises the memories?
would blot out everything that was written.
Precisely. We would be unable to recall the memories, and any activities that depend upon them would be hindered as well. In fact, this exact phenomenon was observed on a vast scale not so long ago. And what might that have been?
The seventh Umbral Calamity. The people of Eorzea vividly recall Bahamut breaking free of the Lesser Moon and raining hellfire down upon the realm. But no one could seem to remember the events that followed immediately afterwards.
Indeed. To this day, we have yet to determine whether it was an unintended consequence or a deliberate act. The enchantment which binds me and the rest of the Forum is based on a similar principle. And yes, it is a contravention of the Sharlayan prohibition against the practice of memory manipulation. Only when a new member is inducted and told of our great duty are they subjected to the process. A necessary evil. You have my word that it would never be used to manipulate the populace.
I should hope not. But can this enchantment be dispelled and your memories restored?
If 9/10 of our members give their approval, then the process may be reversed. Then, and only then, would we be able to speak freely to others of our sacred duty. Barring that, we must wait until we return to the ethereal sea. For there we will be purified, the blots upon our souls washed clean. And our memories drift apart and dissolve, rather defeating the purpose, I suppose. But there are those memories that are indelibly etched upon our souls, some believe.
What happens after that?
We are reduced to pure ether, coalesce with that of others, and create souls anew. Alternative schools of thought assert souls remain whole and return to the corporeal world, reborn into another form. Both theories have their proponents. Personally, I consider each equally probable. Well, I think that's enough education for today, now that I've given you some food for thought. Or rather, an entire banquet. I would remind you that although I'm unable to assist you with certain matters, the resources at my disposal may still be of use to you. I'll arrange for you all to be given the run of Phenomenon. Of course, as associate to our alumni and the students of Baldessian, this privilege is extended to you as well, my friend. Oh, and I suggest you speak with Ki Aliapo. She's well known among the artisans of Sharlayan, and her network of contacts may prove useful in your search for knowledge. I wish you all the best in your pursuits, wheresoever they may take you.
like this guy.
Nice, cool.
Oh, mega cool. Man, if only there was teachers like him when I was in school, I would have actually been interested. Though what's funny is that I was actually fully expecting him to put all of us on blast.
Why or how?
But is that's just how it sounded like when they were describing him at the beginning of the quest. But oh well.
I have made it to a very interesting point in the story. Whoa, I'm in Charlian with you. It seems both of us are about to leave Charlian. So.
I'm about to say,
Ooh.
not for long.
I've already left.
So, how's it feel to play almost level 90 Dragoon?
It's exactly the same.
I'm not surprised.
Things that I am appreciative, like, just in terms of raw gameplay wise, is I can break the combo and still get Raiden Thrust. I still don't like doing that because you're losing a lot of potency, but shrug. Whether or not I hit the combo, I still get Raiden Thrust, which is nice. And it also procs the Raiden Thrust equivalent to the first step in the AoE combo. So both of them line up at the same time, which is very cool. So at any point where I'm doing an AoE rotation and then the pack thins enough, I can immediately go to single targeting, which is very nice. I think all jobs should have a system like that.
That's what I find to be
Sure.
really cool about Dragoon. Not Dragoon, where is it? Fucking.
Reaper?
No, there it is, Monk. Because.
Oh yeah, I heard his AoE got changed. His gap closer is now AoE.
Yeah, that too. But just the fact that, because of the fact that he doesn't do traditional combos, but he gets a status effect or a buff called Forms, you know, he could do, he could go AoE, right? Ah, damn, I can't actually. He could go AoE, use use the second hit of his, 3-hit combo to get his, damage buff, and then use the third combo of his AoE. Oh, he can do all that without breaking his combos.
Yeah, not breaking combos is kind of... It happens on occasion, but for the most part, they've kind of negated you doing another action and it breaking your combo for some stupid reason.
It's actually insane. I love it.
Feels good. But yeah, other than that, getting 2 Spine Shatter Dives is cool. Getting 2 Life Surges is... I still haven't played with it enough to have an opinion on it, but in theory, it's cool. But I would have preferred something else.
Yeah, like I was actually, when I was watching videos about the buffs that Dragoon was getting, I think literally everyone raised an eyebrow when they saw the 2 charges of Life Surge. I'm like,
I'm like,
okay.
in concept, it sounds really cool because I like life surging full thrust or heaven's thrust now. But now that I have 2 charges, it's kind of like I mean, it's nice, but it doesn't dynamically change where or when I would put it in my, I guess, attack formation. I guess I don't even know which one. It's not even a rotation at this point. It's just it used to be tied with the Lance Charge, where when Lance Charge was 90 seconds, I would use it every other Lance Charge. But now, since Lance Charge is 60 seconds, and Life Surge is still 45 seconds, they don't really line up anymore. Or at least they don't line up neatly. It'd be like, even though I have another charge of Life Surge, it would be off cooldown by the time I use Lance Charge the next time. So it's still kind of weird. I suppose I could use it twice during one Lance Charge, but fitting it in, I still haven't played with it enough to figure out what I would sacrifice. Because I would inevitably have to break the combo to get 2 Heaven's Thrusts. So I'd have to think about either using it on a Raiden Thrust, which wouldn't be horrible, or I'd have to use it on either a Wheeling Thrust or a Fangin' Claw, which is kind of... it's kind of shrug shoulders to me. But other than that, it's just Dragoon, but with extra steps. Or Shadowbringer's Dragoon, but with extra steps. which isn't a bad thing because he was still pretty fun to play. Dark Knight, on the other hand, now that's the more interesting question. You should have led with that because I'm actually really liking Endwalker Dark Knight more so than Shadowbringers.
What? I thought Dark Knight was supposed to be a dead class.
I mean, I've seen them running around. They've all been like just doing story content, so it's not like I know their opinions, but I've seen them playing the game. And as far as doing old content, it's literally just old Dark Knight, but now I don't have to break combo anymore by using my AoE or range attack when I want to do AoE to pull things and etc. and walk away from the boss. And I still not break my combo and hit them with the range attack. Very nice. And the one thing I am finding myself doing more often than not, even in higher level Endwalker dungeons, Shadowbreaker dungeons, is I will single target in a pack of mobs when I can afford to not use my AoE combo to get resources back. Whenever I have Blood Weapon, I will single target combo and then use Flood of Shadow to retain aggro and everything around me. Because I don't have a way to get HP back, which kind of sucks. But I also need resources to keep up the Blackest Night so that I don't take a buttload of damage for no reason. And especially now that a lot of Endwalker and Shadowbringers dungeon mobs randomly will just do tank busters for no reason. Um, I'm like, how do I? What is the best solution that I have to this problem? And my solution is to rely on Soul Eater to get just an inkling of that HP back during attack rotations because I cannot be relying on these healers to baby me because all the other tanks don't need to be babied because they have multiple built-in ways to get MP back, like
What do you mean HP?
Sorry, HP back in like a very set, consistent way. I don't do that. I have Abyssal Dream, which is good for what it does when it's a very large pack of enemies, but I can only press it every minute, and I don't have a minute during a massive pull wall to wall, and I'm getting hit by like 25 dudes, and my healer's a Sage who's just trying to figure out their class, and I've been told by other people who played Sage that it does not really excel with large pack pulls.
Yeah, I do
And
be struggling.
yeah, so whenever I'm with a Sage, whenever I'm with anyone, really, but especially with the Sage, I will drop AoE targets or AoE targeting, and I will try to single target as much as I can while trying to retain some AoE aggro with a Flood of Shadow. Because Soul Eater, it's not much, but it's just enough to keep me above like that threshold of living or dying in a lot of cases. Or at
Like,
least keeping like a healthy amount of HP where I'm not always fearing for my life if the healer's gonna decide the AoE or are they gonna actually heal me. I do prefer not dying.
I do want to run some Endwalker dungeons with you as a sage, just to see how I would perform. Like at
You
this
gotta
point,
unlock some more dungeons.
hmm, oh, say that again.
I said you gotta unlock some more dungeons. I think you only have one.
Yeah, I literally only have one, and my sage isn't even leveled up yet. I'm just leveling up, sage you, doing dailies every day before I start continuing the story again.
Fair enough.
But at this point, I think I have a good idea how you're supposed to play Sage in dungeons. But you uh, it's really only a theory because I've only been able to do level
It's
70
just a
content.
theory.
Again, oh, shut the fuck up. I never liked that guy.
Fair enough.
But I'm pretty sure I have a theory about how I'm supposed to play Sage in dungeons. But I've only done level 70 dungeons with people who are too scared, to pull big.
I mean, with all the sages running around that have no idea what they're doing, and it's not very good at handling big pulls, I'm not. There's a
Yeah, now
there's a
I
bit of
usually would
reasonability
not.
behind
I
it.
usually would bitch about people being pussies, but I I think for the next couple of months I will go ahead and let it go. Specifically when the healer is Sage, because people are
Because
retarded.
people, they're so reliant on the fact that, oh my god, I can heal and attack at the same time. But once you run out of that resource, you don't really have anything to. From
Not
what I have,
even
I have not
not
played
even
Sage.
run out of resources. Like, oh my god, I don't even I don't even know what to say. Sage is really fucking weird. It's a really weird class. Like I've been trying to just like I was thinking, okay, I can solely rely on just doing damage, and putting on a defensive buff on my tank, to keep them alive. I thought I could just rely on that, but no. That is not how Sage works at all. Disappointingly. Like like your the healing that you give the tank off of your DPS by you doing DPS, it's literally it is the literal exact same as the Scholar's Fairy. AKA, you should not be solely relying on that.
No, you should not.
They made it sound like you could, but that's not the case.
They sure were hyping up, like, oh man, you guys don't want to play Scholar? You should totally try out Sage. You can attack and heal at the same time. And I had my reservations. I'm like, doesn't really sound like a game design that Yoshi P would be in agreement with, because there's a lot of things about the game design that he has had a lot of pushback on changing, like mounts being able to fly that don't have wings or that don't appear to look like they should be able to fly. Eventually, he went way back on that and said, "Yeah, everybody can fly now. Doesn't matter how weird the flying animation looks. That random duck over there, you can fly now. Don't think about it." But his feelings towards how the trifecta of healer, tank, and DPS should work in tandem with each other, I don't think that's going to be easily changed in any significant way, no matter how much the community wants, no matter how many game developers are like, man, look at all the players who play this way. Or look at all the actual raiders on their team that actually do the raid content. They're like, healers are doing this and this and this way. Shouldn't we make it so that, they do a little bit more of this? And his answer for a decade now, has been no. The healer's job is to heal. So I never took much stock in the fact that Sage can attack and heal at the same time. It's probably going to be like a menial buff that allows you to heal like a portion of the damage that you do, or a portion of the damage that it takes, something like that. But now that we have it, I'm like, yeah, that kind of worked out as I expected it to work out.
You see, I am a little bit surprised with how this turned out. I am both a little bit surprised and not surprised because, like you said, you know, where Yoshi P has made his stance on healers perfectly clear. But at the
Yeah.
same time, Sage is obviously not the first healer of its type. I don't mean in Final Fantasy, but in other I guess, well,
MMOs.
yeah, just games in general. Healers who heal by doing damage. Because from what I was told, by these guys who play MMOs, they said that every every healer that has ever been released in any game, that was like that was busted to all hell. You know,
Yeah.
And so I decided to go ahead and make that, I guess, my expectations. I was fully expecting Sage to be busted to absolute all hell.
Because it wouldn't just overshadow Scholar, which is what a lot of people were afraid of and or anticipating. Because some people just hate Scholar, just hate Scholar. But if
Yeah,
you have
I I'm gonna show you, just a little bit of a video, after we're done talking about this, because this was just hilarious. But please continue.
it just makes sense that the combination of the two. I want to say people have this thing where they say, well, this is the most important pillar of the foundation of the party, it's the tank, or this is the most important pillar, it's the healer. if you were to combine both of those attributes into one, where the healer can both dictate the pace of play by saying we can pull this much without saying we can pull this much, because they can both do damage and heal at the same time, and then say that their healing, like their raw healing capabilities, is also competent, that's a recipe for disaster, because that one class will essentially be two classes in one in a way that's not conducive to the environment around literally every other class being a very strict, this is what I do. I may do it in some weird esoteric way or uh, very stringent way, but this is what I do. But if this class kind of breaks that trifecta unapolog- unapologetically, um, it's obviously going to have negative repercussions on the balance, not just going forwards, because of like they are getting better at designing the game in general, or put that in quote fingers, I guess. They are getting a better idea of what they would like the game to look like as they design the game, and their ideas are becoming more sophisticated. But retroactively, it does kind of invalidate all of the work that they've put in the game thus far, and would probably like to not necessarily paint over like a Realm Reborn did to 1.0, but they would like to adjust at some point, maybe. And to have just the one class do that for a very extended period of time would kind of leave a sour taste in people's mouths who care about the old content and the way that it is, or the game designers that are making the game. It would kind of break it on both ends to leave it in the game for that long unattended, as if to say that this is it, and whatever happens as a result of it is essentially the responsibility of the players. What do you want to call it? The meta chasing, the people who are meta averse, unchasing, people going the opposite direction. It's all going to kind of break down whatever was built upon the ideas of what people think the game is or what the game actually is, from like a design, if we were to have the design notes, what they think the game is. It doesn't really seem like that would be the smartest thing to do, uh, game design wise. If they want to do something in the future, it should be a gradual shift, not this landslide moment where Sage kind of takes the game in this new direction without really considering the consequences, both positive and negative.
Yeah, it's kind of like when people say, "What's that special type of dungeon in WoW? Mythic dungeon?"
Yes.
Yeah, it's like when people say, "Oh, we want mythic dungeons in this game,
Mythic Plus.
mythic plus dungeons," and it's like, okay, that sounds cool in theory, until you realize just how much that would break the game.
See, it's not the issue that Mythic Dungeons itself would be an issue. It's how it's implemented in WoW versus the design philosophy of hard content in FF14. Its
Bingo.
design.
No,
Because we essentially have Mythic Dungeons in the form of the big instances in Bajja and Eureka. The Baldesian Arsenal is essentially a gigantic mythic dungeon with its own reward system and all that. But so few players play it. I'm not trying to discredit the people who do, because there's a whole community behind it, Discords, people that run trains and somehow organize 60 people to get into a Baldesian Arsenal
yeah.
consistently
And the
for
spam
years at a time.
and the spam of 0.2 seconds.
Yes. Not trying to take it, like, clearly, if players are determined enough, they will accomplish whatever they want to accomplish. But since it has the title of raid on top of it, people do not treat it as a dungeon, and instead treat it as in the mentality that you would a raid. If you were to make a dungeon, and I know that sounds silly, that the designation or the title of the content would lead people to play a certain way, so therefore they would have expectations. Um, and those expectations should lead people to, you know, behave and treat it accordingly. It doesn't seem like if you were to make a very hard dungeon, people would be that down to have a whole system of dungeons that have very menial dungeon rewards. It would have to be something completely new that everybody would be on board with tackling all at once, and that the designers would be happy, kind of shattering the, I guess, state of affairs that they have with the dungeons that they have, or the dungeon, what do you call it, layout, but the design philosophy of the modern dungeons and the design philosophy of the old dungeons kind of coming together in some kind of harmonious hodgepodge. Like, it would be a feat on both the designers and the players to come together and say, yes, this is the thing that we want. That's a difficult, because we already do difficult things in the raids and extreme trials, Baldesian Arsenal, Dalriadas, all that.
Some
The
of this shit being
freaking,
too hard, you know, and still being too hard for the player base.
yeah. So it's like this juggling act of the reward structure needs to be right, the expectations of the players need to be correct, and the actual content itself needs to be difficult, like the Baldesian Arsenal or something like parallel or in that ballpark. I would imagine it to be, and it also needs to be like not insurmountable by a wide variety of players who enjoy doing hard. It's like it's weird because people who like doing hard content kind of, they both overcomplicate it and simplify it in like these very unhealthy ways at the same time. The people who really like doing hard content that are like the mega sweats that are trying to get their gold parses on logs, they tend to bottleneck the content into a way that you only are supposed to do it this way, or you're griefing, or some other stupid term that just kind of
Oh, 1 second. My
invalidates.
mom's calling
Go ahead.
me. Give me a second. Okay, there we go. I'm back.
Welcome back.
But yeah,
But basically, I had a long line of saying that it could definitely work, and it can definitely work, as WoW is basically the blueprints for this game. So it's obviously a winning formula. But the way it has to be handled has to be, in the way that it works for this game.
it's a very delicate process.
Imagine being games there.
Cause seriously, the way people talk, it's it's like they don't. This is very ironic coming from me, but it's like they don't think ahead. It's like, oh yeah, this idea sounds really cool. Until you actually think about it and realize, oh, that would actually break the game.
I mean, but a lot of people don't need to think about it like that because, like, they're not game designers. They're just here to play the game,
They're just here to have a good time.
or at least try to.
It's what they subscribe for. Man, when I actually upload this video, I'm gonna actually need to take some type of, I don't know, some video hmm, of something in the background. Because I just have my character just running around idly, just doing nothing.
Uh,
Probably a video of him showing off Sage.
Possibly. I have not watched anybody's video of anything. I tried to watch Zeno speak through the game just for fun, but then he locked it behind being a subscriber. And as far as I can tell, he does not have a YouTube channel that he just puts his logs in, which is mega dumb. I'm pretty sure there's somebody who's just recorded it somewhere. I have to find.
I am so I'm sorry, say that again? You said you tried to watch a video about Xeno's uh, speeding through the game,
Yes.
but it's locked behind being a subscriber?
A subscriber to his Twitch.
Okay. I was so confused.
Um,
This just tells you just how much I don't watch Twitch.
I don't really watch Twitch either. I just went there for the VOD.
The fact that I forgot that subscribing to a Twitch person was even a thing.
I mean, you can do it to YouTube. YouTubers now as well. Well, not subscribe in the same way. Subscribe on Twitch is like subscribing on YouTube. Or, my bad. Subscribing on Twitch is like become a member of a YouTuber's channel.
Yeah, except you just gotta pay money. So same thing, just with extra steps.
Yes. But you can also. Following a Twitch channel is like subscribing on YouTube. Yo, it's the boy.